are the big bosses and they don't greet you in the lift and they are out there throwing their toys out to the cart. Those days are gone because we are moving more and more into an environment where value is valued much more than power and hierarchy. We experience, we as SAP believe that the experience economy is dominant. That is the way of the world today, where an experience of an employee matters. You have to have, as a leader, the ability to understand and be humble. Big leadership change that's required today. Second thing we need to be thinking about is the ability to listen. So when many of us, whether we are dealing internally with a development project or dealing with a customer and an engagement, we have to have the ability to listen. Because if customers are driving a requirement that really matters to them, what they need is for someone to empathize with their requirement, to understand what they're trying to achieve so that we can go out and find a solution to that problem. I remember that in the beginning of my career as an application developer, the number one skill I had to develop, which I hold in high esteem to this day, is the ability to listen. Because for me to solve a problem of a customer, I had to understand what the problem was so that I could design the solution in response to that requirement. So listening skills is becoming fundamentally important. And none of this matters if you can't provide a solution, right? And if we talk about complexity of the ICT industry, I'm sure in whatever role you have or whatever organization you work for, there's a plethora of solutions that are available in the organization, and you yourself can never be the expert in everything. So therefore you need to have the ability to orchestrate. And to orchestrate that means you must be able to collaborate, to network, to build bridges so that you can come back to your customer with a solution. So if you think about these new skills, the ability to be humble, the ability to network, the ability to truly understand what your customer is trying to achieve, it is a whole new level of skills that are required in this new era. But over and above this, when we lead in organizations, we need to be true to ourselves. And to be true to yourself, it takes that huge, difficult step of being a little bit vulnerable. And vulnerability does not mean that you show every single emotion, every single minute of the day. To be vulnerable, people need to know that you are a human being. And I have two really interesting stories that I'd like to share with you that happened pretty recently. The first was a personal story, and for quite a few months at SAP, we had an interim HR director. And we went through some really hectic times for about 6 or 7 months. So you end up building quite a good rapport with somebody that you're working with on such an intimate day-to-day basis. And eventually we got to a point where we've identified and appointed our new HR director, and that's Genevieve over there. And we're super excited and happy because now we're able to move forward and build our new strategy, etc. So we had this big event where we did our farewell. And at that meeting, I was doing the farewell speech. And for 1 minute, no, actually for 30 seconds, I think, the emotion of letting Gabriel go and bringing Jen on was quite overwhelming, and my voice started to quiver and tears came into my eyes, and I was so frustrated with myself. I shouldn't be showing this sign of weakness. Got through the meeting, and at the end, one of the executives came to me and he said, "That was such a good thing you did, Cathy, to show the emotion." Because ever since I had been in the role, I'd been the tough cookie. Through thick and thin, I would smile. I would deal with the good and the bad. But in that one instance, outside of my control, I showed a bit of emotion, and it was recognized as an important part of saying, that's a real person over there. That's not a machine. That's not someone trying to be somebody that she's not. So when I talk about being authentic, it's about showing a bit of vulnerability. And that's kind of a really important part as we are driving this new age of leadership in the digital era, when many of our colleagues and staff are almost born in the world of AI and technology and social media. Staff want to engage, and they want to engage with real people, human beings. And the second story was around a recent women event we had a couple of weeks ago at SAP. And Jen told the story of her life and her career, the ups and downs. I'm just taking liberties here. And I got so much feedback afterwards around people saying, we just realized that, you know, the road to success or the road to whatever you want to achieve doesn't always have to be smooth. And it doesn't mean that when you're faced with lots of challenges in life that you have to give up. And guess what? Bad things don't happen to me. They happen to everybody. It's really about how you deal with it. But if we don't share the stories, if we don't show that level of vulnerability, everybody will think that these executives are superhuman, they can do anything, they never have moments of weaknesses, they never fail. We have to find a new way of leading our organizations in a real way. So not even authentic, just in a real way where we're showing our humanity. And we're showing when we can be strong and when we can be vulnerable. And if you think about all of those factors, you know, being humble, learning how to orchestrate, being vulnerable, they will be some of the key ingredients that we need in this new world. But the reason I'm talking about it is because there has been so many areas where there's scientific proof that naturally women have those capabilities in their DNA, in their profiles. So the opportunity for every single one of us to dream and turn our dreams into action and to make a contribution and be successful in this ICT industry, which everybody thinks is so hard and so difficult, is unstoppable. You have to believe that the opportunity is now, and we have to take the gauntlet in our hands and run with it, because this is the opportunity for us to make a change. It is a strategic objective of every single organization to have better representation of women together with men. This is not a one or an either or. Together, having a better, richer representation of men and women in the ICT industry, because things have changed so significantly and we need to respond in a way that takes advantage of it successfully. So thank you everybody, and I wish you a fantastic rest of the day.
Wow. Cathy, thank you so much for sharing your story so freely and openly and in such a